Thank you. The first thing I want to say, everything Norman said about me is true. And I apologize if I look a little discombobulated, but I chartered a plane to be here with you. And shortly after a brief meeting, I have to keep going in this campaign. But thank you very much to Norman, to the Arab American Institute, National Leadership Conference. I see a lot of power in this room. I recognize it. I thank you. Jim Zogby, George Salem, the staff of the AAI. Let me say something about Norman aside. Because many of you come from states where most likely the Arab American community is substantially larger than in New Mexico. But Norman, what he's done in his leadership on issues relating to transportation, I appointed him as a key member of the Transportation Commission in our state, which basically means that he oversees close to a $2 billion road and commuter rail project that we had in New Mexico. In addition to that, he has been a dramatically strong leader in the Democratic Party, making sure the Democratic candidates for the House and Senate and any offices recognize the importance of the Arab American community. So, Norman, I thank you for the introduction to everyone here. Thank you for assembling here. I understand that maybe you extended time a little bit so I could speak to you. I want to talk about issues. I'm not going to give you the stump speech. If you want it, it'll take an hour and a half. But I want to talk to you about the Middle East. I want to talk to you about diplomacy and dialogue in Syria. I want to talk to you about Lebanon. I want to talk to you about peace in Iraq. I want to talk to you about where I see our country today, the dramatic and incessant reduction in our civil liberties. And so if I don't give you the why I'm the best speech here, it's because I want to talk issues. I have been, as Norman mentioned, a congressman, UN ambassador, energy secretary, governor of New Mexico. All my life I felt that civil rights, equality, freedom, and the rule of law are paramount. The biggest commitment I'll make to you is that as president, I will follow the Constitution of the United States. I will continue to fight for these values. I will preserve our nation's hallowed faith in the principles of human dignity. Today, the biggest issue affecting our country, I believe, maybe internationally Iraq, but here in our country, the erosion of our civil liberties is not just something that is felt by minorities. It affects all Americans. And it eats away at our moral power as a country. We've compromised our values in this country by allowing domestic spying, by allowing racial profiling, by allowing ethnic discrimination in the name of homeland security. And America must reject un-American and indecent practices like torture. We have to repeal measures in the Patriot Act that violate human rights and civil liberties. No more torture, no more extraordinary renditions, no more eavesdropping on our own citizens without a court order. And the first day in office, I will close that symbol of American oppression. It's called Guantanamo. All our secret prisoners. I will not go to war unless I get the consent of Congress. I am committed to defending the freedoms of every American. And I think that your community, more than any, in these periods of the Patriot Act and Homeland Security, your community has been the recipient and the target of many of these bad practices. And I believe that if the rights of one person are violated, then the rights of all people are threatened. These issues are critically and centrally important. But the fact is, the most important issue of our time is ending the war in Iraq. I know the Middle East. As U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, I spent 80% of my time on the issue of Saddam Hussein and weapons of mass destruction. I negotiated directly with Saddam Hussein, got 2 Americans out. I've negotiated with many of the Arab and Muslim leaders, the Saudis, the Iranians, the Taliban. As I said, I stood toe-to-toe with Saddam Hussein and got him to release American hostages. I believe that I understand the politics of the Middle East, maybe not like you, but I do. The reality is that there is only one responsible choice left for us in Iraq. The only way to achieve peace and stability is to get our troops out. We need to break the political stalemate that is perpetuating the killing in Iraq. And to do that, we need to get all of our troops out. All of them. We cannot leave any residual forces behind. Only when we make it clear that we're leaving can we expect the Iraqis to make the tough choices necessary for reconciliation. Only when all of our troops are on their way out will others in the region do what they do to prevent Iraq from collapsing. Only our departure will give us the credibility to convene a Dayton-type conference to build a power-sharing arrangement policed by multilateral UN-sanctioned peacekeepers. Also, I disagree with the notion that Americans can force a solution on the Iraqis. The road forward for Iraq must be chosen by the Iraqis. If we expect it to hold, a soft partition maybe is the right solution, but it's not up to us to dictate the future of Iraq's government structure. Hastily devised, foreign-imposed partitions have had catastrophic effects in the past.